am your new favorite, JJ Caballero, joined by the lovely Goins, Casey Goins. And this is MonoStereoVideo, podcast about movie music. I'm a songwriter, producer, DJ, while Casey is an amazing hairstylist and salon owner. And we love movies and music, and this is the perfect excuse to talk about music and movies and their cultural impact. How's it going, love?
Good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very blustery day today. It's very gusty. Mm-hmm. It's very dune.
Sandy.
It's very sandy.
Yes.
It's sandworms today. So we're both like a little it's a little chill. We're a little chill today.
No, it's just we're nasally. Like we're not congested, but it's like we have balloon heads.
Balloon heads. Balloon heads in our heads.
That's how I feel.
Like a balloon head?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. At least you don't feel like a football head. I know.
Too many dad jokes.
I know.
In one day, love. Too many.
I haven't even said many today.
Yeah, you have.
What else did I say?
I don't remember.
What? I don't remember either. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
You tell a lot of dad jokes.
I know I do. I know they come out.
It's because I feel bad because you want a reaction from all of them and I just can't.
I know. It's fine. It's all good.
Oh my God.
Anyway, today we're talking about the Brett Morgen documentary. Yep, we're doing it. We're doing rockumentaries now. Boom. We're in Rockumentary Central. Actually, real quick, watch Common Side Effects. I want to plug Common Side Effects real quick.
It's cute.
It's a cute series. It's a cute show.
It's cute and it's stressful.
It's very stressful. But this season ends up, like, it ties up nicely, but there is a second season coming. Mm-hmm. And it was good. The animation's so unique. Mm-hmm. It's so different. By this dude, Joe Bennett. Very cool. The subject matter, it's about mushrooms that can heal anything. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on with that, and mycologists, and there's a lot of ruckus. So I just wanted to plug that up top. Also, thank you very much for listening to the last episode where we talked about Enora.
Oh my goodness! I was like, what did we even say about it?
We didn't talk about like that soundtrack at all.
Right?
Not at all. We didn't talk about the tattoo song. We didn't talk about...
It's because the soundtrack was awful.
I mean, I know. But it's for effect. He plays it for the effect. Like, strip club songs aren't the best. Like, there's a lot more hip-hop. There's a lot more hip-hop.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's a lot of songs that I hear, and I'd be like, if I was a stripper, I would do this song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was not any of those.
The song that she danced to for him, like, that's a stripper song. You know what I'm saying?
House?
At the house, yeah.
That was the only one,
yeah,
almost.
that was a very stripper song, but everything else, like, the dance music, and I don't know, it just had, like, it was like that Euro trash kind of like sound to introduce it.
It was, to me, I was just kind of like, there's so many other like great dance songs out. Yeah. Like, I don't know, how did that one...
Right, I wonder how that one popped up too. I wonder what too. I wonder if it was like an anthem in like that neighborhood at the time that this dude was writing this movie. I don't know. I think we just got caught up in like the behind the scenes-ness of everything, and then we talked a lot about the other movies too. Yeah, we did talk a lot about Mickey 17 and Opus too. So either way, I instead of just being the Enora episode, it was a spoiler alert, and it was Enora, but with also Mickey 17 and Opus. Yeah, so that's what the title was. Thank you for listening. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's cool. What's your favorite episodes that we've done so far?
I mean, I've just had ones where it was just the conversation flowed easier and it just was more like fun. And then when the soundtracks are better, it was just fun.
When the soundtracks are better.
Fun.
Hedwig's fun, always. Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about on that. They're doing a Donnie Darko screenings across the U.S. of Donnie Darko in 35 millimeter.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not everywhere. Like, it's like a tour that's happening. So I don't know. I saw that was popping. That looked pretty cool. Pretty cool. Closest is Dallas.
Okay.
If that's close. I don't know. It's kind of it's close-ish. I don't know. Yep. there's that happening. So thank you guys for listening to last week's episode. Thank you for listening to previous episodes, and continue to share and like and spread the word on the internet about us. Podcast geeks are like, they're the ones that get other podcast geeks into certain podcasts, like me. Like I share a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I'm asking for your help, podcast geeks. Just share us as a fellow podcast. Don't keep us in your back pocket. Spread the love.
Yeah.
Spread the love. Spread the love.
It's funny because I like when people randomly message me and be like, I was listening right now and it made me laugh, or I was, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's so cool.
That is really cool. I've noticed, I mean, the numbers, it's a lot of US based stuff, but then there'll be like a tick of like Japanese listeners, and there's a tick of like there's a couple of Mexico there, but then like one in a bunch of other countries. I think because like they tap on the thing and oh man, okay, oh no, never mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of them just keep coming back, like the repeat numbers from certain things, and you know what I mean. It's there. It's gaining steam, but you know, if you guys could subscribe, it would be much cooler. Also, we got little merchandise on our Linktree. You find the links in the description below. Linktree / MonoStereoVideo. There's some shirts there for the various things that we do for Deep Cuts. Gonna plug Deep Cuts, Casey's salon. Want to plug our shirts for MonoStereoVideo. Thank you, Jimmy, for the design. JJ Caballero shirts. Oh yeah, I just released an EP. So my EP's out.
Yeah.
Listen to the EP. Yeah, we had a release show.
Thank you to everybody that came. That one was fun. I liked that, like, a lot of people showed up and we were all hanging out. It was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. I did have a good time. I had a good time. I'm very grateful to everybody. Shout out to Ross. You rock. Shout out to Eloise. Shout out to Jim for being there. And thank you for having us. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Cool stuff. Alrighty. Back on track. David Bowie, Moonage Daydream. It's a kaleidoscopic montage of a rockumentary directed by Brett Morgen, who is known for these types of things. His other films, he did the Kurt Cobain one, the Montage of Heck. Did you ever watch that one?
I did watch that.
Yeah.
When it had come out.
He did one called Jane, about Jane Goodall. He did the Jane Goodall documentary. Okay. He did that one, Rolling Stones Crossfire Hurricane. I didn't see that one.
No.
I didn't see that one, but I know people liked it. His biggest one, I think, was that The Kid Stays in the Picture.
Okay.
About Robert Evans. That one I always wanted to watch, but I've never seen it. But I know it was very flashy.
I've always heard of it, but I've never seen that one either.
But this is his visual style, and this one is, I guess, honestly, probably like the most colorful out of all these. Very much the most flamboyant, the most like, I don't know. It's like a kaleidoscope. There's just different visuals. We'll talk about them. I wanted to ask. Well, let's see. There was something funny here, actually. So, Brett was named after a USC football lineman named Britt Williams, but they spelled the name wrong. So, like, his name was supposed to be Britt.
Yeah.
But they named him Brett. I just think that's kind of funny.
What?
I don't know. Britt and Brett.
It's an easy thing to, or I guess it's not an easy thing to fix, but.
Yeah. He also, was nominated for a documentary called On the Ropes. He made a documentary called Ollie's Army as a student. As a student, the film focuses on the exploits of the James Madison University College Republicans during Oliver North's senatorial campaign for 1994. Okay, cool. I don't know. This guy, he's done some other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. This was the most creative thing, I think, that he's like, not creative, but abstract. The most abstract thing I think he's done. The montage of Heck was kind of like bordering that though too. Like that one.
I'd have wanted to watch that.
Yeah,
again,
we should watch that again.
It's more like available. I had to like search for it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I think I do remember having to like download it or something before I had HBO, because it's an HBO documentary and stuff. But yeah, what is your relationship with David Bowie? That's one of the things I wanted to do for these rock documentaries. What's your relationship with David Bowie?
I mean, that, like, if somebody had to make me pick, like, that, like, he's number one. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't listen to him a lot, like, as far as, like, daily listening or, like, stuff like that. But just as an artist, as a musician, as a person, like, just, I admire him a lot. Like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the way in interviews, the way he speaks, the way he thought. Even just as he got older, like, he didn't hold grudges against himself for, like, things he thought before. He was just like, well, now I've grown and now I think this.
Yeah.
You know, I liked that a lot. Like, he was very self-aware at a very young age, I think. Like, in his 20s, like, he was very aware of, you know what I mean? And I feel like in my 20s, I was not aware of anything at all. Like,
he seemed to be like fully realized as like an artist at a very young age. Yeah. Yeah, you're true. You're true.
Very intelligent. Just.
Yeah. Very well said. That was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
He's the best.
Yeah. Like, what's the first thing do you remember hearing of his, or what's your first instance?
I mean, I guess as a small kid, like, I always, like, I knew who he was vaguely, but it wasn't until I was, like, in middle school where I really was like, oh, like, I like this dude. Like, just how weird he was, all the bright, colorful clothing he wore, like... I know I wear black now, like, it's just easier, but when I was a kid, like, the brighter the better. I wanted to wear all the colors. Yeah. Yeah, me too. As a, like, I had my ritual for putting on a bunch of bracelets. And my introduction to him was, he was around. He was just an ominous presence. Like, especially, like, in the 90s, like, he was, like, a face. He was always on VH1. He was always on MTV. Even if he wasn't, like, if they weren't talking about his music, he was being interviewed about something, or there'd be award shows. And I remember my mom and my Aunt Bernie would be like, oh, David Bowie, he's so handsome. Oh, David Bowie. Oh, that's David Bowie. Oh, is it David Bowie? And I was just like, there's this guy. I haven't even seen him in any movies. I don't even know what he does. Like, how is he just famous? He's just around. He's famous. He's just a famous guy. Yeah, because at that point he was just he was famous. Yeah, he was just famous. Yeah. I was reading this article about this movie that did point out, like, his heyday was, like, up to the 70s. Like, Ziggy Stardust up to the 70s, and boom, but, like, he was still innovative. You know, he's very much loved as a big artist, but it was like never the same. It wasn't the same. Like, I don't know, as he got older, it was different things that he did, and he did become more of like a monolithic totemic artist than like just David Bowie that was Ziggy Stardust, you know? So I don't know. I don't know what point I had there. I don't know. I thought I had a point, and then you started looking at me like, what? No, because I'm listening. Yeah. And I'm just listening. Yeah. But I don't know what the point was, really. Well, I mean, the point was, like, he definitely had a lot more oomph as a younger, like, coming out the gate. He was very... Yeah, I feel like most people do, because they're just younger, and you're more willing to let yourself do, like, certain things, and you know what I mean? And then I feel like sometimes after, like, later, once you, like, kind of, you're too tired to do all that stuff, or you become a parent, and it's just, like,
your perception of things is just different.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Because I do be tired. If I do be tired.
Yeah. But and then also that time period was that just was the time period too. Like you could do all of that. Like everybody was wearing big, colorful, stumpy shoes and mismatched prints and like
that's
all the fabrics and hair color.
That's the first chapter of this movie. That's kind of where it starts. Well, I mean, does it starts on like the moon. Like it starts like with an eclipse. It starts with that girl with the tail.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I guess to wrap, like me, it was that he was always around, but it wasn't until high school that I got a burned copy of like the best of David Bowie. I just downloaded it. I was like, oh, you know, I'll start getting into this.
Yeah,
and
I remember when I finally had a job where I could spend a little more money. I remember finding that and been like, okay, I'm gonna get this one because it has like the most of all the stuff. And that I listened to a lot, like over and over and over.
Yeah, and then like Aladdin Sane, you know what I mean? Like just following through them, because the internet was kind of. I mean, when I was in high school, YouTube was like starting up, and I was listening to people do like song rips, and like people were ripping albums and putting them on YouTube. So I did get a chance to catch up on like, okay, let me listen to all of Aladdin Sane. Okay, let me listen to a lot of that was. I think that's why YouTube is kind of like the one I stick with the most. I've loved YouTube. I've always loved YouTube. YouTube too. It was like, I mean, as a sidebar to all this, watching documentaries or just snippets of people working in the studio, and like, or like if you'd get like a DVD, like a CD, but then it came with a DVD of the band in the studio making that said album or what have you. That's what made me want to do all this stuff. That's the thing. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be there, and I want to like. First off, it was to record my own music, but it was because of that. I don't know. So that's a sidebar. That's a tangent. But thanks to YouTube, I was able to like deep dive. Aside from the CD that I had, like the thing, you know. So yeah, I got more familiar with him as time went on, and yeah, you're right. Like. You watch interviews. I mean, there's things strewn about through this documentary. We'll touch different topics and like different things because I don't bring out my notes a lot. I've noticed that like I take my notes and I open them, but I don't use them a lot in these episodes. I'll bring them up sometimes here and there, but I want to. For these ones, I want to make. For Rock Docs, I kind of want to do more of these notes. But either way, he was more like he didn't say bad shit. Like he was a positive guy, and not like obnoxiously positive. You know?
Yeah, no, he was just like, this is the way I want to live, and this is how I feel, and like I'm not gonna like wish anybody else ill will or like try to convince anybody to do like. And it always seemed, my people will find me.
It always seemed to come from like a genuine place. Like it seemed to come from like a very honest place. You could tell when people are not honest. Yeah. So this documentary came out in 2022, had its world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Let's see. It was released theatrically in IMAX. We didn't get a chance to see it in IMAX. I know. Unfortunately. Yeah.
They'll re-release it, I think, or something.
Maybe at some point for maybe like a birthday or maybe like an anniversary. Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice to watch it there. So Casey and I do have the Criterion disc of this. Like it was released as a Criterion film, like already, like super quickly. They're doing that now, I guess, more often. Like Anora. Anora's getting a Criterion release. And I guess it's just more. For this, I should have watched more of like the stuff behind the scenes on those discs and stuff. Yeah, that would have been. There'll be an update. There will be an update and an addendum to this. There will be an update and an addendum.
Write down your times.
Yeah. So, this is the addendum. This is the addendum that I said I was going to record yesterday. It is now yesterday. I mean, it is now tomorrow. When you're listening to what we did, that was yesterday. You'll listen to this today. Either way. Okay, so I did end up watching the extras on the Blu-ray that we have of Moonage Daydream. So the main thing that was there was an interview that happened at the premiere of Moonage Daydream at the theater, the Chinese theater in Hollywood. And Jack Black introduced the film itself. He also introduced the interview, the panel. So it was Brett Morgen, the director. Interviewing him was Mark Romanek, the video director. So Jack Black had a connection with Brett Morgen because they went to like high school together and to school together, so they knew each other very well. Why Mark Romanek was there? Mark Romanek, the director of the Closer video, the 9 Inch Nails Closer video. He did film video for David Bowie. Mark Romanek did. But so Brett Morgen had a heart attack and flatlined at the beginning of the production of this film. So he died. He technically died. He was in a coma for a while. He came out of it, and Mark Romanek's relationship with this was that the film insurance went up a bunch of money, and they were gonna have to pay like a couple $100,000. So in order to like kind of offset that, they hired Mark Romanek as like the backup director, just in case this fool keeled over.
Wow.
Yeah. So he had a heart attack. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And it kind of set in motion like the way he was going to talk about the film. You'll listen to the rest of the episode, but they did talk about how can I say it? Jack Black introduced the movie as, this isn't about David Bowie. This is David Bowie. This is David Bowie's you. David Bowie's me. Like he was very expressive about it, and it's like and that was the angle. Like the angle was not so much I want to tell the story. Mark Romanek talked about how it was kind of hard for him to figure out how to do this, and he had so much access to so much stuff that he watched it for like 2 years. He dug into the archives for like 2 years, and what he said was he took a train from Albuquerque, just a train. He was just on a train, just kind of traveling, and in that the thing that kind of lived on in that thought process and how he connected with the film was like transit and being in transit, and like it went as far as like transit in sexuality, like transness, like I'm passing through and being androgynous because I'm doing this, I'm doing femme, I'm doing male. Him always traveling, not having a home. The majority of the film is like, you do see him walking through different places on trains, traveling different places.
Right, because they're not going to be in his home, like filming him, like he's doing stuff.
Yes. Let's see. Another thing. He heard. Okay, so Tony Visconti, who was Bowie's longtime producer for like a ton of his work. Like I did a report on him in college on Tony Visconti. He was the music director for the film, and they had access to a lot of like audio stems and stuff because of Visconti, because he had that stuff. Like he has the all the stems and everything. And that one song, it's one of the songs. He was listening to a song and they were gonna like Brett Morgen was like, I want to use this. I want to use these stems. And what happened was Tony Visconti was showing it to him, and it was like the end of the song. And Bowie's like, I wanna live, and they shut down. Tony Visconti turned off everything except the vocal that was like saying like I wanna live. And even at such a young age, like he was you could hear him sobbing, like you could hear his like he was just sobbing uncontrollably after saying that and such. So, but it was like just like how expressive he was, but also like at an age like. It was just like the circular nature of things, and how he just wanted to live his life and not be boring and do something every day, things like that. The movie is David Bowie. Let's see. There, Mike Carson, who is a longtime friend and collaborator, he was like on every one of his records, was on the panel as well, talking about how he remembered Bowie talking about how the 80s just kind of depleted him. The 80s like killed him.
Yeah.
And Outside, that album in the 90s, was like his rebirth. And it was like the album that he wanted to make, like as an experimentation and just kind of getting back to himself. Like so that's why it ends up on Hello Space Boy. Like that's why the film kind of ends in that realm and not so like Brett Morgen was talking about how he didn't want to negate like the last 5 albums of Bowie's career and like the last years and stuff, because they talked about how Black Star was amazing and yada da da da, but that this was like him, like Hello Space Boy was him like fully formed, like reformed and formed as this is my final form. And talked about how the film itself was like a mandala, like a circular, like it came back and forth and circled back around. That was intentional, you know, we kind of picked up on that. And let's see, Brett ended on that. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's kind of what I gleaned from the interview. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Extra features. Yeah. Any feedback? Any thoughts?
No, I mean that's pretty cool that they reinforced what you were already thinking, like what's going on. In the film. Yeah,
and they were talking about the so on the train ride, Brett Morgen took a copy of Joseph Campbell's Hero of 1,000 Faces, and that's like a book that's just kind of it tells the story about how, well, not tells the story, it explains how we kind of make like the hero's journey out of everything. I've read some of it, but it's kind of known in like those circles, and like it's kind of like that's how the Jesus idea was brought, like he's like the prodigal son and all this stuff. So that kind of also influenced how Brett Morgen made and made the story of the film itself. So yeah. Cool. All right, addendum, and let's get back to the regular episode. It was shortlisted for the Best Documentary Feature at the 95th Academy Awards. It won the Best Music Film at the 66th Grammys. At the Grammys for 2022. The Academy Award, that wasn't the slap year, right? It wasn't slap year? The 95th?
I honestly don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. They just, like... We didn't even watch them this year, really. We talked about like Honora winning them, but like I don't know, like after the slap, they kind of lost it for me.
It had been kind of getting that way.
It had been kind of, yeah.
I used to look forward to watching it,
same.
But then it was just kind of like, I don't know, like this isn't what I thought.
Yeah, same. I remember Amy. Shout out Amy. Her family used to have like a party, like they'd have like an Oscar party. Yeah, I never went. I was never invited. You know what? Now that I think about it, I was never invited.
You could have gone. I could have gone.
Yeah, I could have gone. I could have, but it was never like it was. But you know, the families have their family stuff happen. Like they do family stuff, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have this family thing. So you know, but like I know that they did that. I know if the award shows were on and we were already at my grandma's, that's like when we were little, we would watch the award shows at my grandma's, and then when they were done, okay, let's go home. And Chapo would be, I don't want to go. My grandma, just let them stay. We would do that all the time, and we'd stay sometimes, and we'd just go to school from there. It's, and you know, living in Horizon, ugh. All the dirt that's here, I can only imagine the dirt that's out there. Yeah.
Because we haven't had any rain.
We need rain. Oh my gosh, we need rain. Please, we need rain. So the film is a montage. It conveys somewhat the story of his kind of more public life, right? Like there isn't a lot like they don't talk about his first marriage much. He kind of like mentions it as he's discussing stuff.
I feel like they're just talking about his like artistic trajectory.
Yes, that's very mostly, much so. Very much so. Like the myth of Bowie, I guess. Like who he built.
It didn't gloss over. It didn't talk about his daughter or anything. It was just like his career and like how it developed and what happened like as each album came about.
Yep. And that's really cool. Like it's very cool to see something like that, right? Like because there's a lot of stuff that's and I don't want to say like it's held down in like controversies of this or that, but to just be like a celebration of art and stuff, that's awesome. Because there are several other Bowie documentaries. There's like unofficial ones. There's like official. There's like BBC ones, shit like that, where people do talk about the tabloid stuff, the darkness, and everything. Here's, I mean, it's not really a warts and all. There's not really like a lot of warts here. It is more of a celebration of the art. He got access to the Bowie archives, so he was able to use a bunch of different footage that was just there that people hadn't seen before.
Nobody had seen,
There's alternative takes of like different music videos. His own. We'll talk about more in depth, like his own films that he made himself, which I thought was a cool aspect. I want to bring that up in like it opens up with the moon and kind of like it touches the same scene a few times, right? It's kind of like how can I say it? I feel like one of Bowie's like main artistic things was that everything kind of came full circle, you know, like. And in this, the way that it's displayed, time, like, it's kind of like just like a wash. I think I saw it, like, because there is stuff from the beginning of his career, but it's also interspliced with, like, stuff that's happened later on, like, in the later 70s when he's dressed differently and things like that. And I feel... like I don't know. I like that really. I really like that because it did show that he kind of held the same artistic beliefs through time. I think that's why they were kind of doing that, like to show that he was pretty consistent with like what he was working on. It just expressed itself differently. How can I say it? I want it like this thing, like that's real fucking cool. Like the cover of the fucking movie is just real cool. Like just that. But that outfit, what did you think about that outfit? Like I had never seen that before.
You hadn't?
No, I didn't remember seeing any of those pictures.
It's because I don't know where I got this magazine from, or it was a calendar. I don't know where I found it. And I remember taking it apart after I went through the whole like year of whatever, and it was a lot of Bowie pictures, a lot of Lou Reed, a lot of Iggy Pop, like all of that era. And there was that picture of him standing there with the outfit on, face forward. There was like a lot of the iconic ones that you like from that era, they were in there. So I was familiar with the outfit.
I like how the movie does open up on like Ziggy Stardust, but like alternative takes of like performances of the songs. Like I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool because, you know, I honestly don't think I've seen the movie all the way through. Like the Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, like that original. Have you seen that one? Yeah, never seen it. Never seen it. Where that performance happens. Yeah. What do you think about the beginning of the movie?
It was good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It then goes to like my favorite. What's your favorite era of Bowie?
I mean, it depends because like there's ones where it's like, oh, I like certain this more, but he just had good hair, so it didn't matter. Like he just had really good hair, so it didn't matter what era it was. Like he always just looked cool.
You know what was cool was how there were those photos from Ziggy, like the Ziggy Stardust era, but like they're just more natural photos of him just being at home and like hanging out and just like his hair's all a mess and stuff, and it still looked fucking cool. Like it still looked really good. Like it looked very healthy. He had very healthy, I don't know. Do you think he had very healthy hair? Even the shit that he was doing before, like...
I mean, I don't know. I can't say. Just like... If whoever was styling his hair wasn't like it didn't ever look over processed or anything as far as like color wise, even when he had it platinum, like, or bleached, like it wasn't, but I mean, he's like, when you're white or you have colored eyes, like it's easy to bleach your hair. It doesn't do the same thing as when it's darker.
Okay.
Or like if you have really dark eyes, like that usually makes it harder. Like that's a telltale sign of how hard it'll be to lift color.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, he was, and then his natural color wasn't very dark to begin with either. Yeah.
Throughout this, it's not really, there's no real like description of what's happening. It's just interview clips, a bunch of interview clips. And I loved it. I love interview clips. It opens up with this here. Okay, so I did kind of fuck up the quote when we recorded this yesterday. So today, when I was watching the extras, I got the quote. So the quote at the beginning of the film, it's, at the turn of the 20th century, Friedrich Nietzsche proclaimed that God was dead and that man had killed him. This created an arrogance within man that he himself was God. But as God, all he could seem to produce was disaster. That led to a terrifying confusion, for if we could not take the place of God, how could we fill the space we had created within ourselves? David Bowie said this in 2002. I think my conversation after this point still makes sense, even with my misinterpretation of, or my misstating of what the quote was at the beginning. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for bearing with these little addendum notes, these little footnotes. I guess that's kind of like the full circle thing I think I see of it. Like, Bowie was... this is kind of... It gets into weirdness. It gets into, like, the woo-woo stuff. It gets into, like, chaos magic and like, occult stuff. Because in these types of practices, you kind of are... in chaos magic, you kind of borrow from different beliefs, right? And you kind of build your own system based off of things that you've borrowed, and you use that and kind of quote unquote pray to certain gods and stuff to create the paths to the things that you are willing, right? So in that, it's kind of like, with all this stuff, we are little gods. We are little gods of our own universes, and we create. And this is stuff I've had little realizations of during mushroom trips. You know, it's great. It's great, but it is like that is our thing. We are little gods, and I feel like there's certain things you could take from like a scripture where like God created man in his image, where it's like, well, if we're created in that image, then we are little gods ourselves, and we can create and we could build the things that we want to build. So I feel like this, like Bowie is known to have built his different eras and his personas, and he drew upon that symbolism and stuff, and he was like a practitioner of like this stuff. Like he did I show you that last podcast on the left, those episodes on David Bowie and the occult?
I do remember you talking about him.
They were really cool. They were very cool. But he was very aware of all these things. There's different things that he would say. Like, I didn't take a note of all of them.
That was like during COVID when you were listening to all that, right? I think we did.
But he did say different things. Like he would talk the esoteric talk of dream genie, na 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 na. He talked about how he had a hodgepodge philosophy, and that is like chaos magic. Like you have like a hodgepodge of different philosophies and spiritual beliefs, you're like, you know, he carried that kind of like, he did like ritualistic magic with that. I even feel like some of his songs or some of his album cycles, and just like I feel that the full circleness of his life and why this Moonage Daydream documentary is shaped the way it is, or just naturally kind of comes about that way, is because it is like a ritual in itself. You know what I mean? Like life is a ritual, right? And it happened, and I don't know, like that's why Black Star was so beautiful and such an awesome song and an album, was because it did come, it was like full circle. Like he came back to who he was, and as a fully realized artist, and exploring different things and themes, and in those words touching on stuff that he had done before, and just like kind of being self-referential, and I don't know, like it, and that was like his last parting gift to humanity, right? Like as an art, as a piece of art. So I don't know, there's something occult and ritualistic about the movie itself too, that I very much liked. And it is like a visual representation of how I feel like time is a blur. What book was it? Slaughterhouse-Five, Kurt Vonnegut, right? Like he talks about time is a Gaussian blur, and like Gaussian blur, it's like, you know, it's just the like you kind of like washing something around, and it's not really like a blurry thing that kind of looks like you mushed it. And I feel like it's that, because time is like a wash. Like you know, you get deja vu. That might have been like, oh, well, this is happening in the future, or you know, you have memories, and you could feel things in your memories, and that's like how you experience the past. So it could kind of all be one thing. And like I just feel like the way this was arranged was that, it was like, and every era was that. I really liked the performance that they did from like the Heroes era. That was cool. I'd never seen that stuff before.
Yeah, that one I hadn't seen.
Yeah. What do you feel, what was your favorite performance that you hadn't seen before?
I mean, just hearing that I'm a DJ song, I don't think I had heard that before. And then just other ones that were like more familiar songs, but seeing like video of it, like, oh, I hadn't seen video of that before, but it's like a very popular song, you know what I mean? Like Space Oddity or whatever, but it was just in a different setting that I hadn't seen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there were different angles. Yeah. Just to talk about, so he does narrate his life a little bit, and like just to talk about his history a little bit. He grew up, he was David Robert Jones was born January 8th, 1947 in Brixton. His mother was Peggy. His father was Stenton, went as John. Both British. His grandparents were Irish immigrants. He very British, had a nice little British upbringing. They talk about his stepbrother. In this is half-brother Terry Burns, who was a substantial influence on his early life. He's the one that introduced David Bowie talks about the moment that he handed me On the Road by Jack Kerouac that changed my life, and it changed my trajectory as an artist. Like he brought that up in there. That was pretty cool. Seeing those older pictures of them younger and stuff, like that was pretty cool. His brother did suffer schizophrenia and seizures. He had to live in psych wards and such because he went to war, correct? Is that what happened?
Yeah,
he did go to
PTSD.
War. He had PTSD. But he's the one that kind of got him jump-started into like the Jazz Age and Buddhism and beat poetry, and subsequently like the occult. That's also because that like of the time, like Aleister Crowley's influence was kind of floating around, things like that. So they talk about that and talk about like his early influences there a little bit. A little bit that he had some troubles, I would think, with his stepmother as well. little bit of that, but it didn't go into a lot of stuff. His first marriage, they didn't really touch on it. They did play some audio of him saying that he wasn't a very good husband at the to begin with, that age, of course, because he's younger. He married her in 1970 and they divorced in 1980. Angie Barnett. Is she the mom
of his first son?
Of Duncan? Okay. Duncan Jones, the director of Moon, that movie Mute, the Warcraft movie. He directed that too. Yeah. We gotta watch Moon.
I've been wanting to watch it.
Me too.
Again.
Yeah, we should watch it soon.
Right? With what's his face?
Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell. Yeah. Duncan Jones. He rocks. He. You want to see him? He does have.
No, yeah, I know what he looks like.
I didn't. I didn't know. Yeah. He does. He looks like him. Holy shit, that's crazy. I mean, not crazy. He's his son. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I really did. Like, I liked when he talked about he had to leave the hustle and bustle of like Los Angeles to.
Yeah, I liked when he mentioned about that his environment helped him create, and he had to experience all different kinds. He don't want to just be in one place or buy a house somewhere or anything like that. Like, he wanted to experience different places, and I thought that was really cool.
That was really cool. Like, he moved to Berlin after LA to get away from, like, he didn't like LA. He said he hated it at that point. That was like kind of during like his cocaine and peppers eras and stuff like that. Yeah, that was like the Thin White Duke era. And then he moved to Berlin and made the trilogy that everybody loved. Well, I love the like Low, Lodger, fucking Heroes, amazing albums. But he needed to move there to make it harder on himself to try to. I don't know. He wanted to see like that, experience that to get what he could pull out of it and make it like not so easy for himself. And there he like experienced like the photos from Berlin were really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like how can I say it? He wasn't super like flashy there, but he was still stylish.
Yeah.
And like just the bleakness of the surroundings. I don't know. I just thought that shit was cool. And like it just showed like there were pictures of him at bars.
He just looked like a spy.
Yeah, he looked like a spy that was just like hanging out and just like meeting people and shit.
Because even at one point he said that, and like nobody knew who he was really in Berlin, so he could just be, he didn't have to be extra because nobody was trying to be up in his face, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. What about, let's see, moved from West LA to West Berlin. Ugh, West LA. Brian Eno helped him on those albums. Showed a little bit of that Eno, like little bit of pictures and stuff. I want a documentary just on that.
Yeah.
Just on that whole period. I want all the video of them recording, of what they use. I probably will never get it, you know, but that's what I want. I want that documentary. Did you watch The Last 5 Years with me? That documentary about David Bowie?
So.
That one was really cool because that talked about The Next Day and then Black Star and just the recording of that. But there wasn't a lot of like footage of him in there. It was just like the musicians talking about him and like playing stuff, which was cool too. That one was a little slower though. This one, it was somewhat of a Mimi's movie, but like the different mixes of the songs didn't allow for that at points. I liked when it was that hello, what's it called? Hello Space Boy, and it was like the remix with the Pet Shop Boys. Yeah, that's fucking cool. That's what the soundtrack is. So the soundtrack is available widely. We're not gonna really. There's a shitload of songs. There's 45 songs. it's the soundtrack of the movie.
Yeah.
So it is like you're listening to the movie. It's like you're listening to the movie. You hear the things that are said at the beginning. You hear some of the interviews and the discussions. You hear the Wild-Eyed Boy, all the young dudes. I like all the young dudes when he played that live. That was, and he let it play out the whole fucking song. Like, that was fucking cool. Yeah, that was really cool. Oh, You Pretty Things, Life on Mars, Genie. You hear all that. You see all that. So you're kind of like watching it in your mind as you're listening to the soundtrack. I suggest you listen to the soundtrack too. Like, just like to have that experience.
Or just sonically. To even hear him. Like, just to hear him speak. Like, he's just so smart.
Yeah,
like,
he is. Various interviews. There was interviews from like Dick Cavett and such.
Like even ones where it was like you would think like somebody else would like get nervous, and maybe he was nervous, or somebody else would kind of like trip up over the question being asked, but he was just so innocent in a way. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of. He reminded me of a little kid. Like in the early interviews where he wasn't worrying about any of that. He was just answering the question how he knew it. You know.
Bringing it back to like the beginning of that, it is like, it's just so wild the times that we are in, and seeing earlier expressions of like homosexuality or bisexuality or just not like the free love movement, right? Like, of course, like artists and stuff experience that. Like, it's just a thing. It's just a thing. Like, if you're like in artistic circles, if you're doing these types of things, you do see more of this stuff. You do see more queer people. You see more just people expressing who they are. That's just naturally what you do. But just how he was just so upfront about it, and he used it to his best ability to promote it and be happy about it, and like. Well, all the like that one dude at the beginning, like when he's asking all the questions, he's just like straight faced, like British man, and well, blah 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 blah, and he's just like, well, yeah, I don't know, that's how it is. Like that's
when
what I do.
Told him, he's like, are those women's shoes or men's shoes? And he's like, they're shoes. Like yeah, they're shoes. Like they're shoes. Like why do you care? Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah,
I loved it.
He knew how to deflect all that and make it because
and he wasn't ever rude. He wasn't ever mean. He wasn't. Like never.
He wasn't. He wasn't rude. He wasn't mean. He was just like, no, yeah, duh. Like these are shoes.
These are shoes. Like anybody can wear shoes.
And like that itself just breaks down the gender binary, right? Like, and it doesn't. And you know, I don't want to say okay. There's a lot of schools of thought on this, whatever. But like, I would love for that just to be that. And it just to be that forever, you know? It just sucks that it's had to be like, now people have to like explain and have the debate, have the trans debate. When it's like, it's not a debate.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
It's not a debate. People
like,
exist.
I don't care what you have under your clothes.
Yes.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care. I care what you have in your head. Like, that's what I care about. And in your heart. Like, that's it.
That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just bigotry. It is just bigotry. And, you know, there wasn't a lot of negativity in this documentary, for sure. I do want to bring up, so, like, post this era and kind of, like, post the Berlin stuff, like, it does show, like, his 80s, like, the Just Dance era. Like, it does show him coming out a little more, like, straight-laced, you know, a little more... like very blonde, and he's like
he has the feather, and it's the suits and stuff,
and all the suits, which is cool, you know, and that's good stuff. So two things about that. So when you saw his fans, like the fans were changing, like the fans totally changed from all the cool queer mods and you know wild people in Britain in the 70s to. It was like, I don't know. That was like...
I don't know. I feel like that was a lot of Americans,
It was a lot of Americans.
Like, that was a lot of Americans and just, like, But that I feel like too, like he was playing a persona and that was just the one that they liked. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh, this is easy. Like he's not wearing a lot of makeup. And it was like, he still had on mascara and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he still did. And it was just like,
and like to
I'm going to make you, I feel like that was his way of being like, I don't have to, like, I'm going to make you like me whether you want it or not. And like, cause he even said like that was the easiest music for me to make. Like he wasn't trying to be abstract. He wasn't trying to be incognito or like lyrics this, that, whatever. He's like, I'm just gonna write a bop because I can.
And that's what it was. Like it kind of to me showed how the times are changing, right? Like in that era, all those American fans, like, he knew who was appealing to for, like, the Reagan 80s, the Carter 80s, like, the hustle, like, I don't know, that was a different age where money was flowing, man, and cocaine was flowing, man, and let's do business, and it was just a different commodified time, and he knew how to adapt and still make really good, funky music. The trouble I was having internally while I was watching that throughout this viewing of it was because of the times we're in now. Yeah. And it's like, it was like, to me, it was like, man, he didn't say anything about Reagan or anything in that. But it's also like, no, wait. He didn't have to, because it wasn't like it is now. Like, it's as bad as it is now. That's why people that need to speak up. But it wasn't like that back then. He could just be like, well, fuck this. I'll ride this wave. I'll make this cool ass music. And then I'll ride this other wave when and he did talk about like the ebbs and flows of this in the interviews. There was more discussion of like, when it's freer, and then sometimes you just have to kind of like contract and like do something else. And like in this, he showed I'm gonna spread happiness. That's like this era.
I just wanted to be positive.
I just want to be positive. Yeah. So like, I feel like this type of thing now at this point in time, to where we're at politically in this climate, just it wouldn't fly as much. Yeah. Like, but that was unique to that time, and like, I just want to say, like, I had some sort of feeling, and then I had to kind of be like, no, because he was just doing him, dude. Like, you can't knock him for that, and you can't knock who his fans were. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it was just that type of thing. Like, looking at it at a lens from like current eyes was different. Like, was like, I was like, whoa, shit, hold on, turn that shit off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just turn it off. It was weird. Yeah, it was a crazy thing. Crazy like juxtaposition. That was cool, but the songs were fucking the shit. Yeah. I still love those albums. Good shit. I was gonna bring up something else with that. I think it was all in the same thing. Yeah, it was all in that. It was just that. Oh, that made me think of Velvet Goldmine. Like
Tommy, whatever.
So that, like, that kind of, when I was taking a shower after yesterday, and I was like, like yesterday, I was kind of thinking about it, and like earlier today, I was thinking about it, like, what was Todd Phillips saying then? Like, was it like, did he feel that Bowie turned his back on the queerness? You know what I mean?
No, I don't feel that. I feel like he was just like, I already fucked it all up so bad that I kind of have to start over. And this is the way I can do that. Okay. Is by just becoming a different person again.
Yeah. Okay.
Because obviously in the movie it seemed more in a negative way. Like, yeah, like he wasn't, I don't know.
Like just kind of relitigating the end of that, like, I thought about it as, like, what I kind of saw it as was Christian Bale was, like, the queer eye of it, right? And, like, when he finally figures out who he is and he asks him about it, and he's, like, kind of more like, oh, hey, what about blah, blah, what about Maxwell, blah, blah, blah. And, like, the guy's like, okay, all right, we gotta go and everything, like, I feel like that was like, hey, well, why'd you turn your back on us? Like, I felt that. But then I also, like, because then it goes to that scene where he is in the dressing room and he does see, like, the old video of him and stuff like that, to where it's like, well, I mean, but now like what you say is right. Like what to me, what you're saying is like, well, this is the way I had to survive and to like do the, yeah. So I don't know. That's, yeah. I thought that was interesting. Like after watching this, just like having that perspective to it. Yeah, that was cool. It was cool that opened up like that dialogue in my head. Yeah. I liked that Hello Space Boy was on that Outside album, the one that I'm deranged. There was a little bit of video from that era in this too. A little bit of like as you got later on in the movie. Everything kind of just like we start seeing more often the scene of the moon and like the eclipse and like kind of like that gorge, but then it introduces something else. The documentary is kind of split into parts. It always kind of goes dark for a while. Yeah, and then it comes back with those light flashes. What'd you think about that? Those light flashes?
I thought it was cool, like little splashes, because it looked like some of the artwork that he was doing.
Let's talk about that. So he also worked in different mediums. He was like he drawed, he painted, he worked in film. What of the other things that you saw, what were some of your favorite things that you saw of like the other expressions of his art that weren't his music?
I mean, like some of the videos were like a little bit of like modern dance looking kind of stuff, so that was cool.
I liked how he would like I liked that one scene where he wasn't in it, but it was like he filmed it. It was just a minotaur kind of like in the bottom corner, and it was just kind of moving around. There was like, it looked like it was like an image of somebody like kind of jumping off a thing. I don't know. It was kind of more messy. That was cool. That was like kind of like an industrial minotaur. I like thought that was cool. That kind of, because I'm reading House of Leaves right now, and like it's about like a labyrinth and like a monster in the labyrinth, and like there's talk of like a minotaur in the book and stuff like that. So like I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? Why am I reading that, and why am I watching this? Like, what's happening? His paintings. What do you think about his paintings?
I liked his paintings. I thought they were cool. Yeah. I mean, they were very abstract. But how he said they were always a figure and a little bit of himself in the figure.
Yeah. There was like, so he talks at one point about his paintings where he was depicting different people like of Berlin and where he was at. So how can I say it? Like, he had his drawing style. Like, there were images, there were also clips of him like drawing and stuff during like the Ziggy Stardust era and like the earlier times, and like his drawings and like his paintings then had like, they were like people in like silhouette, but like kind of amorphous blobs, and he kind of carried that on. Like that was kind of like his, but just different ways. Yeah, just different ways, especially in those paintings. Like they were very familiar, but there was just different ways of that familiarity, which I thought was cool. Which I still think is like that's you could see him as like a fully realized just artist, like from out the box, out the gate.
Even when the person that was interviewing him asked about how come he doesn't want to show or his artwork, and he was just like, because that's just like, that's mine, like it's for me, like I don't have to show you everything. Like I'm already giving you what you're getting, like this is for me. Like
he did say that there was offerings and stuff, but he didn't take them up on the offerings. I liked his film. He just did visual experiments. Like it was just a bunch of different visual experiments. There was like he'd get like a regular video cassette camera and he'd angle it to where you see a reflection of him in a thing, but then there's like, it's like angled and jagged, and it's like in a room, but you don't really know what's going on because it's like really dark, but then it's like a different tinge of a different color, maybe like a green or whatever, and he's like doing something. Or there was one image where it was like him, like his face, and it was like circular, and it was like his mouth, like he'd be like, and it was like a bunch of little his mouths. That was cool. Just doing different things, and like visuals of him painting, which at that too, I was like, I don't think you paint like that. I don't think you paint in those overalls and those boots and stuff. I think this is also a piece. Like, I don't know. I was just like, I don't think you paint like that. I think you paint differently. I don't know. I could have been wrong. That could have been his paintwear. I like that. All his film. It was crazy just the amount of like archival footage that this dude had access to. And it was just, because it wasn't just David Bowie stuff. Like, it wasn't just like, and there were also clips of like of The Hunger, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, or other movies. What else was he in?
That play that he did.
He did The Elephant Man, and so there were clips of him as the Elephant Man, which also played into like several juxtaposed themes on the film itself. Like, there was themes of like scenes of him in The Elephant Man would play when it'd be like an instance of him like kind of relating to what the Elephant Man was saying at the time. I don't know. It was cool how everything was kind of like tied together and like stitched together in a cohesive thought. That was pretty cool. What do you think of Later? I know you like Black Star a lot. Like, that's your shit. What's your favorite song off of that album?
Lazarus.
Lazarus? That's a good album. What did you see? Like, I didn't get the girl with the tail and the skull, really. I didn't understand what the girl with the tail was in the in the documentary. Like, there was that girl, like, there was like the moon, and then she would walk and pick up the thing, and she had a tail. I didn't understand that.
I don't know. I would need to watch it again. I was just there was different things that I was watching, so I guess I didn't think about that too much.
Yeah. Okay. I was just like, why does she have a tail? Just the whole time. I was like, I don't know why she has a tail. Maybe just because she's an alien?
Mythical, like, she's not human, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just wonder where that came from. I don't know. I don't know if it was like a lyrical thing, if it was like a mention of his. I totally don't know if it's an occult thing, because if it is, I'm unaware of it. Yeah, I was unaware of that. I don't know. It just flowed really nicely into the different performances of his life and stuff too. Later, like, it doesn't go too much into the personal. Does talk about Maaaan. Does have a little bit about Maaaan in there, and more like personal pictures between them two. Why do you think that is?
Well, because we said, like, it was a documentary about his art. It wasn't a personal necessarily documentary, or they would have talked more about the lot of relationships and stuff like in the other ones, but it was just more about his art and like why he chose to go different routes based off of what was happening. You know what I mean? And like, he wanted to be with Iman more and not tour and not do so much, you know what I mean? So
I just thought that, like, I like that, like, I like that they included her in it, right? Like, it was like being with her was like another work of his, you know, like, that was like another, like, and it was like a partnership, and he had let himself open up. He bought a house with her, you know, things like that. Like, that, I thought it was beautiful that they included her. Not that, like, I don't you know, I don't feel any sort of way like that they didn't include the first wife and such like that. I don't know. I don't feel any sort of way. I think it's nice that they included him on. Like, I think it's very nice.
Well, yeah, because it was that she was still his wife when he passed. Like, the first, they already weren't together anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true that. Yeah.
Like, his wife was his wife.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I don't know. This is a really good movie. It's a very good movie. Did you listen to the soundtrack at all? Like today or anything?
Not separate from the movie.
Not separate from the movie, huh? Yeah. It is kind of one piece.
Yeah.
Like, it is kind of one piece. I mean, I could get like, like, listen to it if you're like on the road, hearing him talk.
Yeah, because you could be doing other stuff like washing dishes or doing laundry or cleaning up, and just like you get to hear snippets of what he thought, like, and just hear him as a person. Like, I thought that was really cool.
I didn't know. I'm just pulling it up here. I'm Afraid of Americans was for the movie Showgirls.
Oh, it was for the movie Showgirls? That's funny, because I really did like that album, too, because it was just so, like...
Yeah,
it was very 90s. And I liked that he was, I'm Afraid of Americans.
Yeah.
Like,
there was some different footage from, like angles from that video, too. His era, like, that era, they showed that era Bowie a few times, like...
With his spikier hair.
With his spikier hair,
what was it? The
little goatee, the little chin, like, the little... Doot, the little doot. And then, like, it's that image of him wearing that, like, the flag suit.
Oh, the British, the British,
like cyberpunk, British cyberpunk kind of suity type of thing. That's that album, Earthling. Yeah, but that was cool. Like, and they did different things with that. That they did like a different. You got to see the film. Like, there was like a different transformation of that, and they used it, and I don't know, it was crazy because there's a bunch. It's not just like people on screen, it's and it's not just him, it's different visuals from other movies that are happening around the time, or things that are like it's chaos for a while, for a big chunk of time. It is chaos, and then it starts kind of chilling out and getting more solid and talking about certain things, and we just see certain images kind of repeat, like all the images of him just traveling and through like that I don't know if it was Thailand or Hong Kong or whatever,
where he's walking and
stuff. Where he's just walking, and
Japan. I thought it was Japan.
They showed him in Japan too. He was in Japan for a bit. Like, they showed him in Japan as well. But it was like those scenes when he's walking, he's wearing the hat, he's got the very blonde hair.
Oh, yeah.
And he's riding the boat, along the river. But then he's like eating in the restaurant, he's having the coffee, he's at the strip club, and like somebody's trying to, and he's just like, no, don't do, like, I don't want to, or anything like that. Like, somebody's trying to get up with him and stuff. Those scenes are fucking cool. Like, all that video is fucking cool. This was all just archived, and I'm like, what was this for? Like, was it for music videos? Like, did he just have people following him around getting things?
Sure.
Like,
there was somebody
that's cool.
like, oh, you should film this. You'll want this later. Like, you know what I mean? Or it's like you have a friend that you travel with or something, and they're recording. Like, it's all that stuff.
That's also, like, a different time, because all this shit would be all over somebody else, like a different artist's social media. All these videos and everything would already be out there. That's what the beauty of, like he knew what to just keep for him, what to put out for the people, and like there's an archive of stuff that I don't know. It's just like keeping the mystery, and like seeing these things now better than much better than like seeing it at that moment, and just like has to be right there and broadcast to the world. And hey, here in Taipei, haha, like, I don't know any of that shit. Like, different times. I don't know, different time. He's a singular artist. He is a singular artist, and this film displays that in wonderful display. Yeah. I really like this movie. Really like this movie. Any final thoughts, my love?
Watch the movie.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie. Any plugs?
It's the same plugs as always.
Thank you very much for jumping in to the podcast. Jumping into the world of the podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for downloading. Thank you very much for listening. We also have the book of this. There's also a companion like coffee table book we got. It's huge. Tons of pictures, tons of writings, and like things and interviews. It's very thick. Good book. We still need to we haven't even scratched the surface on the book. There's a lot of cool pictures there. A lot of cool pictures. Yeah. Either way, thank you very much. You could check out all the links, Linktree / MonoStereoVideo. The Casa Caballero store is up there. Our Ko-Fi page, you could tip us. As much or as little as you want to. Listen to us on all the podcast listening things on like the Spotify's and the Apple Podcasts and stuff. Leave some comments, rate us, review us, share us with friends. That totally helps us out in the algorithm. If you don't want a tip or anything, but you can help us for free. You could totally share us with some friends and get us in their ears. That'll totally help out. We're very happy to do this. We're rounding 100 episodes. Like, we're almost there. We're almost there at 100 episodes. Building up to it, we finally kind of sat down and have planned out the rest of the films we're working on to the summer, like into the summer. So we're pretty excited about all those. Next one is another rock documentary. I'm pulling it up right now so I can tell you guys what it's gonna be. Where is it?
I'm like, I don't have my planner. That's where I know all that shit.
I know you did. I know. I'm pulling it up on my phone.
You keep looking at me like...
No, I'm just trying to. Little Richard. We're going to do the Little Richard documentary. The HBO Little Richard documentary. Oh, awesome. HBO does some very good documentaries, rock documentaries. I kind of want to fit in the Nina Simone one.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. I don't think you've seen it.
Or maybe parts, but yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. But next, Little Richard.
We could do Nina Simone after that.
Yeah, we could probably do Nina Simone after that. Little Richard's next. David Bowie was a fan of Little Richard, of course. Little Richard, super influential. That documentary is going to be cool to watch again and talk about. Watch this movie. It's we could describe it. We were just kind of like glowing about different parts of it. But it is just, it's a visual.
Like, if you want to know Bowie more as an artist and like just his artist or his artistic trajectory, like that's just what it does.
That's what it is.
And it has him talk about his beliefs towards music and just life and performance and stuff.
Yeah, and it's a display of that and a celebration of that. By a very good filmmaker, by a very good, like, this, he did very well in, like, the montage of it all, and, like, just making it a montage of things, and, like, the timing, and the spacing, and when it was chaotic, but when it was chill, like, the ebbs and flows of it, it's very cool. It's very cool. You do have to experience it, because that is very much like David Bowie's art. There was a lot of chaos. But then there was a lot of beauty, and there's a lot of beauty in his voice, and his saxophone, and like
that saxophone.
Yeah, tons of stuff. We love you, David Bowie. Maybe we'll talk about another one of his documentaries. We're never gonna be tired of talking about Bowie. But watch this movie. Thank you very much. Follow me on Blue Sky. I think I'll link me on Blue Sky. Instagram's kind of just whatever now. Like, it's kind of whatever for me. I don't know. Social media is wild right now. Wild in that it's like kind of like meh. Yeah. Thank you very much, and we will listen to you later.